All right. Good morning. Good morning. It is 6:32. It is April 17th. It is Thursday. Wow, just like that. Another week in your life is gone. Did you enjoy it? Were you frustrated? Did you have gratitude for the things you have, or you're knocking your head against the wall because the action's been a little choppy slash, not the easiest environment to be trading. But anyway, at this point, it's been a week. Hopefully, if you had Passover, you enjoyed it. If you're getting ready for the Easter holiday, you know what? Be optimistic, enjoy yourself, enjoy your family, and we'll see what goes on. By this point, you know that there was some news that there's big progress with Japan. So the market is up a bit. Yesterday, there was a blanket sell program pretty much the entire day. NVIDIA was weak, Tesla was weak, tech was weak. But, we did isolate a few levels. I was talking yesterday about this level 520, that if we broke 533, we could see 520 or so. And it was a decent spot for people to cover some shorts. And, if you got a little long, congratulations. Right now, the SPYs are up 3. Um, to me, I don't think I don't know if you chase this up open. I think it's more of a fade. It was as high as 531, so it's already off those highs. I think UNH, down 115, kind of took the wind out of the sails. Wow, that's a big friggin' move down. Holy cow. Um, a lot of dangerous things out there. A lot of potholes, a lot of broken charts and or bent charts. Not a whole lot to do. We're in this environment where less is more, in my opinion. Where we were as low as 21% off the highs, which was 2 weeks ago. We had our rally back up into resistance. Looked like maybe we could hang out inside to then potentially go a little bit higher. And now, we pulled in a little bit, but still, a lot of people are like, hey, Red Dog, if you use your retracement rules, we only pulled in, 0.32% of what this move is. So if you want to take this line and keep, kind of bringing it lower, at some point, maybe it gets taken out. We shall see. At this point, again, 529-ish, you probably, if you bought in the hole, at 340, I would be reducing. I don't know if we get back to 533, 536. I just don't think that they're that the shorts are going to be that worried, and I don't think that anyone's buying higher. It's just the way we are right now. Netflix is after the close, so it'll be interesting to see if or how that reacts. So if you look at Netflix, Netflix is it feels like it's in a world of its own, where it's like it's above 950, below 993, above the moving averages. So if they want to they want to kind of just tease people with something acting well that might be able to get some traction, after that Wall Street Journal article talking about how this could be one of the best companies over the next year or two. We'll see. You have after hours, you have this is 993, you have 998. If this is gonna get back to 1064, that's the spot. Okay, I don't know anyone that's canceling Netflix. I just don't know how many more people in the world need to get Netflix. And I know that I feel like I haven't watched, a regular TV channel in years. We go right to Netflix, right to Amazon Prime. Everyone has their shows, and it's just that's the way of life right now. No one's watching channel 2, 4, 5, unless it's sports, I guess. But anyway, maybe you are, or maybe you're watching The Voice. The Voice is kind of cool. But anyway, this will be for after the close. If I'm going to play a lot less earnings this quarter, because I just don't have fun with it. I'll be missing out on these big moves. You could have a solid quarter, and I got to believe the guidance across the board is just not going to be good. It's going to be very cloudy. And the further we are off the lows in the market, the less these things could move with a better than feared report, like we saw with some of the airlines. So let's go to the Qs. The Qs made, Qs went below 441 and reclaimed it. This was 452 where it kind of broke. It's just a sloppy pattern. It's just SPYs are only up 277. What are the Qs doing now? Qs are up 448. So, again, I don't think you could buy this open. I know on Monday, a lot of people made money shorting the open, with the excitement of the electronics not being tariffed, or some of them. But anyway, I feel like everyone, the only people that are really happy are the gold bugs. Wow. The dancing gold bugs. If you've been buying physical for the last, 2, 3 years, congratulations. If you have an asset allocation plan, this is why you have gold in there. This is why 10% is allocated to this, 60% equities, 20% bonds, maybe 10% crypto or Bitcoin. Look at the size of this move. Um, and if you trade it, it's been a great asset. I guess you'll see, does this gap hold? There's a lot of gaps out there. A lot of people buying puts out there too. A lot of people fighting. I think there's just as many people fighting this gold move as there is long it. And the ones that are long it have been long it probably for 20 years. But anyway, what's this low here in the GLD? The GLD 303.80. So I guess see if this gap holds or does it come in. Somebody's like, hey, did you see gold's down? I'm like, all right, the GLD is down $1. Okay, it's been up. It was up 9 yesterday. So anyway, what's the GLD doing? It's up. It's not even. It's down 50 cents. What a move. Jeez. Some people are like, hey, Red Dog, when is Bitcoin going to finally, do what gold just did? I don't know. I've tried it. I'm long some Bitcoin options. I'm long some IBIT. It's just not doing it. It's just not ready yet. But again, don't lose sight. Don't all of a sudden, stop trading it or stop, stay the course. There are a lot of people that were very frustrated with gold. I think, in an asset allocation plan, you could put a little bit of money in Bitcoin every single month. And at some point, it's going to pay you in your asset allocation pie chart. And if you trade it for a living, or if you just trade a lot of assets for a living and you look for different things that are set up, it feels like it's set up in here. It's just a matter of, I don't know what it's going to take. What's the catalyst? Maybe people take profits in gold and some come to Bitcoin. I don't know. But all of a sudden, it's just not finding it. It is decoupling a little bit from the NASDAQ, which is good. I guess maybe you need a few more countries coming in and, talking about being the reserve currency. I think ever since friggin' Trump and Melania came out with their meme coins with Davey Day Trader, everyone just is like, it's friggin', it's a money making scheme. Anyway, with that being said, maybe it gets above 86 at some point, and if there's a better trade, we shall see. As far as tech, there's really not much going on in tech. You go to NVIDIA, it's not much going on here. They're taking a big charge. You could have made money short. You could have made a little bit of money long. At this point, maybe it has a little inside action. It's only up 50 cents. You're not really missing much. It's broken. Tesla's broken. You look at Tesla. It's up $1.60. Big deal. Everything is just a range broken trade. Little pocket pivot here. Made a low at 233. To bounced a little bit. I think yesterday more people were short than long it, so I had to frustrate them a little bit. I guess we'll see if Tesla holds this morning. Here's the cues. They could push it a little bit higher, I guess. But all in all, these things are so damn broken. Apple, just they sold the strength. Everyone was all excited about Apple and the iPhone being out, not in the tariffs or whatever. So the pre that people probably knew and they were long, and then you had to sell it into the strength. Remember, Mike, does it hold 280 or not? Well, it didn't hold 280, got to 212, so you had to fade that. Then if you bought for a little Red Dog reversal on what's it called on Tuesday, boom. So it's just like there's a lot of predatory action here, and it's not easy. I've been talking to people who've been doing this a long time, and they're just like, I'm going to pull back and I'm going to really just wait for my little spots and not really be overly involved. So I get it. This really like my friend Dan Zanger, who I've been, who I learned a lot from back in the day. Like he's been talking about cash as king for 4 or 5 weeks, and every time you try a little trade, even with my power plays, I try a little trade. There's nothing to do from a swing trading standpoint. It really isn't. You could trade a few levels and make some money long, make a little bit of money short, love them and leave them. Do what we did in college. Did you do that in college? No, I'm kidding. Anyway, but that's it. and just be pleasantly surprised if you get a few nice trades. And there was a lot of nice trade. Last week was a little bit more conducive for my style, where we targeted 480, 483, and you had a nice move, and then you had that that midday move, and now it's can we hold here? We'll see. We shall see. I do feel good. Got up this morning, did my 20 at 520 with my dog's Red Dog Mindset. We do a nice workout. I think about the day, and we talk about what's been going on, and more, not really in front of the charts, but just as our thoughts are elevated. Some of you guys who do find a lot of value in the 630 Club, people like, how do we sign up for the Red Dog Mindset? Well, just press that subscribe button. It's $10 a month. We do lessons on the weekends. We do a lot of things. If you've been doing the challenge since January 6th, to make yourself lose 10% of what you don't want. A lot of people are having nice results. I went from 195 and below 180, feeling good, feeling confident. If the more confident you feel and the more, positive you're making progress with, the better you can make decisions, right? And then there's a lot of people who are mentally tired and distraught. That's why I did that webinar with Evan Marks from N1. He is a mental performance coach. He doesn't just prime himself in the morning like we do to get ready for the day. He actually has you deal with things that maybe are holding you back from taking more size, holding you back from being short, holding you just things that could help you, make more money. So that's why we did the webinar. And if you want, we are doing a mastermind class together for 8 weeks in May and June. You should take a look at that. I posted the link a bunch of times. And if not, if you're happy with your progress, if you're happy with your performance, if you're happy with 2025 and you don't want to, take the initiative to evolve and become a better version of yourself, that's cool too. We all have to continue to become better versions of ourselves. Some people like, Red Dog, what's wrong with Meta? Meta was sold. The first one sold, right? Wasn't Meta the first one sold on Monday? So it's been sold since. This was this isn't an RDR buy. That was here. So the low here is 495. So if Meta can come all the way back down to those April lows, anything can. That's why people aren't in such a rush. Plus, they're also waiting to see like how much their fine is going to be. But this is pretty gross. Remember that ascending channel that broke to the downside? Amazon, same thing, rolled over. Not very interesting. What's interesting out there? Let's see if some of my dogs have anything interesting. Let's go. I got a lot of comments out there. These are everyone's from YouTube. People are from Twitter. Hi from Caracas. You're allowed to be late, Jose. It's all good. Bobby, I like that Evan guy. That's cool because you're Bobby 4.0. Bobby 4.0 has gone from Bobby 1.0, 2.0, 3. He works on himself. I met him when we did a Redler Ultimate Access like 5 years ago, maybe even more. But anyway, Kramer, sell Apple on NVIDIA. When was that? This morning? Palantir and Mister both have held well. That's true. But yesterday, Palantir was weak all day. So remember yesterday, I'm like, do the strong stocks all of a sudden just fade because people don't want to be in a rush and aren't paying for anything higher? So if you look at Palantir yesterday, yeah, actually, this chart looks a little bit better. So this did hit 89.62. So again, yeah, this is better. It's hard to find any of these things. So I will say Palantir has moved up the go-to list. I don't know if you need to buy it today. It's probably up $2 or so. But it is better. Okay, it's up 2. So question is, are you going to buy Palantir up 2 or are you going to fade it up 2? To me, I think it's probably a better fade, but we'll see. What else did you say? Looks good there, which I do agree. Humana was a big miss. That's true. Mister. Okay, yeah. Well, Mister is trading with kind of Bitcoin. So I get it. Bitcoin's trying to hold around. Yeah, Mister actually looks pretty good. You're right. Mister's trying to tell you that maybe Bitcoin gets going soon, I guess, or not. But Mister does look pretty good. You have a nice little bull flag here. It's above the moving averages. I like it. What's it doing today? It's probably up this morning. It's up 260. Yeah, there's not a lot of things to sink your teeth into or hold right now, especially with earnings season. Especially like look at this. Wow, it's UNH. UNH is what? UNH down 20%. That's tough. Um, let's see. Head and shoulders triggered downside in the futures. Okay. We got Misters holding up well. That's true. We got It's from Richfield saying good morning. UNH. Yes. The oscillator is not oversold, to be honest. The oscillator's, was down 3 yesterday. So now the Qs are up 350. Tesla might even go red before we even speak or get off this 630 club. Got the SPYs up $2 now. It was up 5. So I'll tell you, there's a lot of trading that's going on now. Pre-market, post-market, all night long. It's not just in the 9:30 to 4 o'clock anymore. So you have to, as a trader, think about your day. Sometimes people don't, they don't want to start, down when the market opens, but the market's open. You could pick and choose your time frames. I used to make 90% of my money between like 9:30 and 11:30, which I still think is a great time because you could line up your daily charts and, look for divergences, look for relative strength, relative weakness, watch for gap fills. So there's still a lot going on there, but there's a lot of trading that's happening at all times of the day. So things are evolving. But again, here's Mr. Mr. looks pretty good. Someone said I should be looking at GME. GME is sloppy as hell. But they're supposed to be buying Bitcoin also. They have, I think, like $5 billion in cash, and they have no business. So hey, why not buy Bitcoin? It's a new normal. Anyway, this pattern doesn't look so great, but I guess you could say, hey, maybe there's something there. I will say though, if you're prepared, there's definitely things to do and there are levels to do them at. Yesterday, as I said, if we break 533, which is what we did in the SPYs, we could see 520. Guess what? We broke 533 or couldn't get back above it, and we saw 520. If you tried buying 526, you lost money. If you tried buying 524, you lost money. If you waited till we hit 520-ish and you saw that 5-minute volume spike at 340, you got along and you made some money. And then Hertz, we were sitting here yesterday at this time. Hertz was up a lot. And then I was like, why is Hertz up a lot? It's supposed to be bankrupt. And then all of a sudden at 3 something, Scott Wapner broke a story that Ackerman accumulated 20% and we started buying it and made really good money. And all of a sudden, if you went with that trade and you went with it overnight, it's up another $1.60, 28%. Gave you a day one yesterday, right? This is a day one trade. So if you ignited and bought it yesterday, you could sell it today and boom, you just made yourself thousands of dollars as an active trader by watching the volume coming in, connecting the dots, having your mind right, go time, took some home, boom. There you go. That can happen still. There's a lot of spots that you could pick, but you have to be patient and you have to be ready for when the time is right. And if you're a shelly yourself and you're frustrated and you hate the world and you hate the tweets and the banter, you're never going to see things clearly. And then you might as well just take off for a few weeks and go recharge your batteries. But if you're here, you want to get up in the morning, you want to get your mind right, you want to make sure your micro habits are strong. So this way you're ready for the day and you're ready to go. If you're not ready to go, you might as well be doing something else. Lily's up big. I haven't looked at Lily in a while. This chart's pretty gross also. Lily's up, wow, up $90. That didn't give you any real signs here. I haven't really even charted this in a while. What's that on Lily? Lily's been in this big upper channel for a long time now. My friend still owns this. His daughter's name is Lily. He bought this, I don't even know how old she is. Maybe she's 15 years ago. And better to be in Lily, name your kid Lily, than Penelope. If you've been in Pfizer, you haven't been making any money. If you look at Lily, I think this is when he bought it way back when. Go to the monthly chart. Anyway, a little bit different than Pfizer, right? A little bit different than Merck. So again, picking and choosing whatnot. But anyway, I'm sure I'll read a little bit more into it. So let's go back to the daily chart. Well, they must have come out like a pill, I guess, versus a shot. What's the news? Oh, it's a pill. Hey, that's the problem, I think, with everybody. Now, I'm not going to preach, but like even with the masterclass that Evan wants to do for the mind, it's 8 Tuesdays. It's 8 hours of work of making yourself better. I bet you if someone said, hey, I can just give you a pill for the same amount of money, you don't have to do anything, they'd rather take a pill than work on themselves for 8 Tuesdays. Same thing with the market. Nobody wants a letter anymore, or multiple plans. Just tell me what to do and where it can go and where my stop is, and I don't want to be bothered. All right, that's a new way of life. How about exercising? How about eating right? How about feeling good instead of just taking a pill? But I'm not gonna say anymore. That's how I truly feel. But Baba's probably up a little bit. China's up a little bit. But look at what Baba had to do. Also, it's really Baba had to gap up. Okay, so if you thought, hey, Baba's back, and you bought it because you figured maybe it's holding here, then it gapped down, and you probably got stopped out, and now it's probably up a little bit. So let's see where Bob is. It's not easy. Anyway, yeah, I do fast on Mondays, and it feels good. It feels good to feel a little hungry. I've been fasting for 10 Mondays now, and I'm down below 180, which was one of my goals because I'm keeping promises to myself, that I put in place. That's how you build self-esteem. That's how you build a reputation with yourself. Or you can just take a pill. Do that too. Anyway, oh God, it's Holy Thursday. I don't know what you're supposed to do on Holy Thursday. I'm Jewish, but if you're gonna have some fun with your family, if everyone's traveling, enjoy it. Enjoy your parents, enjoy your kids, enjoy your relatives, and you know, definitely celebrate some small wins and have gratitude for what you have. And just know that complicated times lead to better times. Have multiple time frames. If you have a 401k, stay the course. If you have a 529 plan, stay the course. If you have a blood in the street account, mine's 50% and 50% cash. And if you have multiple accounts to trade, you know what? Trade them. Be patient. Be prepared. Take care of your business. At this point, we hit 520. This is a resistance area. And right now, spies are a little bit of no man's land. They could push up a little bit more, and then you'll see. And just end the week on a good note. Feel good. Get some exercise this weekend. Take care of some things. Hang out with your family, and just make sure, you can recharge yourself. Let's see. What do you think made the Qs and the spies high lows yesterday? I don't know if we test those, but I will say, I would, if you didn't buy yesterday in the hole, to buy on this up open, I would wait and really see, what goes on. I think, fading is better today, but it can get to here, like this low here is 533. If you fade 529 and it goes to 531, you might get stopped out before we roll over the same way. If you bought 523 yesterday before it went down to 520, maybe you didn't sit in there for the low, and maybe you don't have anything coming in today. All right, wow, 6:55. I got to jump. Good luck today, guys.